situation that no one wants to talk about. But what happens is that we still find ourselves ignoring it. We avoid it even though we know we need to talk about it. And so this can be because we feel it is uncomfortable, we feel it's going to embarrass us in some way if we do talk about it. But the reality is, we don't actually know where to start, where to begin having some of these difficult conversations. But here's the hope we can learn. This is a skill that you can take on in your life. You can develop it over time, and you can get good at having difficult conversations. So then, our series aims to provide us with biblical guidance and instruction that will equip us in having some of the most difficult conversations that we need to have in our lives. And last week is the foundation to our series. We talked about how God is good at initiating and having some of the most difficult conversations with us. And so today we want to identify, when it comes to us having these difficult conversations, what is it that is inside of us that hinders us, that blocks us from having difficult conversations? We want to look at why do we avoid having difficult conversations. So let's get our text, Psalms 139, verse 23.
God, examine me and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts.
Okay, so let's begin. Let's consider first of all, as we lay a foundation, let's talk about inviting God. Now, we are created beings. And that is a foundational truth about you and I this morning. And in that lies the understanding that our Creator knows us better than we actually know ourselves. And it is out of that simple truth that much of our lives flows out of that truth. God knows things about you and I that we don't know. We think we know ourselves up until something happens and it's like, man, I never knew that was inside of me. God knows us better than we know ourselves. God sees things inside of us that we many times can't even see it's inside of us, or it is at work in us. And so God understands us better than we actually understand ourselves. And that is because He is God. He is our Creator. And because of that, He knows us best. Psalms 139, verses 1 through to 6.
Lord, you have examined me and know all about me. You know when I sit down and when I get up. You know my thoughts before I think them. You know where I go and where I lie down. You know everything I do. Lord, even before I say a word, you already know it. You are all around me, in front and in the back, and have put your hand on me. Your knowledge is amazing. It is more than I can understand.
So then, this scripture brings out this idea of God knowing you and I best. He knows every detail about your life. God knows what shaped your personality, what it is exactly that made you be the person that you are today, what has happened to you that has developed you in the manner that you respond in life to people or to crises or circumstances that unfold in your life. Listen, God knows the depths of your heart. He knows the hidden, the secret, the areas of our lives that many times we feel too ashamed, too embarrassed to talk about with other people. Areas of our lives that we don't even want to talk about it in prayer with God. Because it's something that we think we can hide it away from God. We don't want anyone to know about it, but God says, listen, I know you better than you think. I know you better than you know yourself. And so if God knows us so intimately, it only makes sense then for you and I, if we are going to even begin to consider to know who we are, we need to sit down and talk with God about this, right? We need to have some conversations with God. We need to invite Him in and ask God to begin to teach us about ourselves. Teach us more about what is actually going on the inside of our hearts. Psalms 139 and verse 23.
God, examine me and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts.
So here the psalmist is writing and he's extending this open invitation to God. He is allowing God into the hidden places, into the secret avenues of his heart. And he says, God, I want you to examine me. I want you to look into my life because there are things inside of me that is happening in my life that is perhaps hurting me, that is causing conflicts, right? That is damaging relationships. There are things inside of me that causes me to self-sabotage. I'm not just hurting people, but I end up hurting myself. And so he's opening up his heart and he is giving God access into his heart. Listen, that is wisdom. When you and I allow God into our hearts. And here's the thing about wisdom, is that God is the author of it, right? He supplies all wisdom. And that means that he's able to guide us so that we can know ourselves better. Listen, many of our shortcomings, our shortfalls that we find ourselves having in difficult conversations is oftentimes because we don't sit down to think about it, because we don't even know ourselves. We don't even know, why am I doing this? Why am I reacting like this? Why am I so frustrated? Why am I so angry? Many times it's just an emotion and we expect it's going to blow over. But where does that emotion come from? Where does that action or reaction actually come from? You see, we don't truly know what is at work on the inside of our hearts. And that is because we struggle to know the why. Why is this happening? Now, listen, I'm not trying to be a psychologist this morning. We're going to sit you down, have a counseling conversation. Tell me more about what happened to you when you were 6 years old. That's not this. That's not what we are talking about this morning. But listen, you need to understand, too many of the ills of life or the pains that you and I have, the hurts, the issues that is at work inside of you, there is a root to it. That means there is a reason for it. There's a why for why you react or you respond the way you do. And this is why we need to come to God so that we can find the root. We can find the why. Jeremiah 17 verses 9 and 10.
The human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is? I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins.
Okay, so here is Jeremiah, and he's saying something about us. He says, the human heart is messed up. If you go back to the book of Exodus in chapter 3, you would remember that God has this powerful encounter with Moses. He's going to call him. He's going to go and be this incredible deliverer for a nation. But he's battling with issues of rejection, issues of insecurity inside of his heart. And God tells him, listen, what I want you to do is I want you to put your hand and put it where your heart is. He puts it in, takes it out, and his hand is leprous. God is showing him that the reason you make all of these excuses why you feel you are not the man, why you can't do this, why you are the way you are, is because your heart really is messed up. There's things that have happened to you that have caused your heart to be the way that it is. Jeremiah says, listen, God knows how messed up our hearts are. And he's able to shed light on the issues that are truly at work inside of us so that we can begin to deal with these issues. 1 Samuel 16, verse 7.
For man sees the outward appearance, but the Lord sees the heart.
Okay, so here Samuel ends up at Jesse's place. He's looking for the next king of Israel. And Jesse brings out his finest. And God says, listen, you're going to make a mistake if you think that I'm going to look on the outside. I'm not so much interested at the appearances of what the people put on, right? Because how many of you know we can put our best face on? We came today looking all handsome and beautiful, right? Best dressed. You've got a smile on your face. But listen, God ain't fooled. He says, I know what is really happening behind the veil of your heart. Because that is what God is interested in. That is where God's searchings are at. It is aimed at our hearts. Listen, if we are not going to be honest with ourselves, we're going to end up being very dishonest when it comes to having these difficult conversations. You're going to pretend everything is okay while it's not okay. Right? Someone can come, hey, I'm sorry, don't worry, it's okay, just forget about it. Whereas on the inside, right? It's not really okay. Your husband perhaps comes to you, honey, did I do something wrong? No, everything is fine. But why are you mad? No, don't worry about it. No, there is something that is there. We can't just ignore it, right? We can't just avoid it. Something is happening on the inside. And listen, we are going to have to find these reasons. We have to get to the root of it, the whys that is inside of our hearts. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 25.
Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to his neighbor, for we are all members of one another.
Okay, so here, Paul is writing to the church in Ephesus, and he says, listen, as Christian believers, there needs to come a time in your life where you put aside the lies. Right? Because we lie to ourselves. No, I'm okay, don't you worry. I'm fine. No, you're not. You need to put away the falsehood, right? The pretending. You pretending to be, to have everything being okay in your life. And he says, listen, stop that. Put away the falsehood, put away the pretending, and start getting honest. Start being honest, first of all, with yourself, so that you can go on to be honest with God, and in turn, you can begin to have some honest conversations with people in your life. Listen, when we find the reasons why and we get to be honest with ourselves, we are then able to go on and have some genuine relationships with people. We can go on to have healthy connections with people in our lives. You see, the best thing you and I can do this morning is that we can take our hearts and give it to God. You can entrust your heart. But Pastor, you don't understand. I've had so many people betray me in life. I have so many people that hurt me. They cause me pain. I've done that before. But then you don't know what they did afterwards. Yeah, but you can't treat God the way people have treated you. God is not a man that he should lie. You can take your heart and you can bring it to God and say, God, this heart of mine, it is messed up. God, there's things happening inside of me that I don't even know where to begin. But here's where I'm going to start. I'm going to give you access into the hidden parts of my heart. I'm going to allow you into areas that I've not even allowed those that are closest to me. But I'm going to give you, and listen to me, if you will give God access, the God that we serve, the Bible says he is gracious. He is loving. He is kind. He is gentle. God's not going to further hurt you because he wants to heal you. But listen, it's not just that he's gracious, he's merciful. We think that if I open it up and I show it to God, he's going to be angry at me and you cockroach, you damn. No. He's not going to do that. It says he's merciful. He wants to help you. He wants to work with you. And God is patient. Listen, God knows there are things inside of us that it's not going to happen overnight, right? We can believe God for a supernatural miracle, that things can happen and God can bring healing and deliverance. But there are things that it's going to take some actions. It's going to take some time for you and I to work through it. And God has enough patience to say, don't worry, you'll get there. I'm going to work with you at your pace, at your level. You just keep on coming to me. You just keep on allowing me access into your life, into your heart. And I am going to bring you to the place that you need to be. Matthew 11, verse 29 and 30.
Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
A yoke is basically a tool that was used to guide an animal. And Jesus is saying, listen, you can trust me to bring direction to your life so that you can come to the place that I want you to be. So then, let's talk about why do we avoid some of these difficult conversations. Now, as we lay that foundation, the first thing is that you must allow God in, right? You have to give him access into the hidden parts of your heart so that you can begin to address the real issues, right? You can get to the why do I do what I do? Why am I the way that I am, right? So 3 things here. Number 1, you have to identify the real issue. You have to identify that why. What is causing me to shy away or to avoid some of these conversations? And when I do have them, I tend to react or overreact. Or I blow my fuse and I lose my mind. I go black inside, and after I'm done, I just see blood everywhere and bodies laying around. Right? What is it inside of me? What hijacks my emotions when these things happen? Or what hijacks my mind? Right? Why am I so broken? Secondly, you have to settle the issue. This means after you find out the reason why, you are able then to contend with God for healing, for deliverance. God, I know I'm messed up on the inside, but I don't want to be this way. I don't want to continue on reacting the way I've been reacting and hurting these precious people in my life and these people that are trying simply to have relationship with me. I don't want to go on that way. And I need you to heal me. I need you to fix what's broken on the inside. Because listen, when you do that, you are able to maintain that awareness, and you are able to not allow yourself or your emotions to begin to determine the direction of your life or how you keep on responding to people. And listen, you need to apply that antidote then. You apply what you have learned so that you can go on in a healthy way. Listen, when it comes to having difficult conversations, it's not just about facts and data, right? At the end of the day, we want something to be healed. We want something to be restored. We want something to be fixed. And so having it is not about finally I'm going to get to tell them what I really want to tell them. That's not what this is. It's not about revenge, right, or vengeance. It's not about I've been holding on to this for so long in my heart and this unforgiveness has been simmering underneath, or the fears that perhaps even haunt us, or the rejections or the manipulations that may come along with all of these things. So then, let's identify then these things that hinder us from having difficult conversations. Now, there may be some physiological reasons as to why we're not good at difficult conversations, right? I don't know if you've ever experienced it when you're in a moment with someone, right? That difficult conversation or that hard one is taking place. Let's be honest, what happens at that time? It feels like your blood is boiling on the inside. Your palms start sweating. You start shivering a little bit. It's like you're almost all nervous. Your whole body now is in reaction mode because your body is stressed. It's trying to avoid something that is difficult and hard, saying, don't go there. And so your body is reacting in all of these ways. And it's affecting you now in your mood, in your motivation. Your fears are beginning to lay hold of you. And so instead of you staying calm and just listening and acknowledging and then speaking, our heart rates goes up in that moment of time. And what we have been doing is that we blow that fuse. We overreact. We become too aggressive. I'm certain that this morning, just by the way of where we are and how we grew up, many of you did not grow up different from the way I did. Every conversation is, let's see who can scream the loudest. It's volume control. Because volume control means now you are being heard. Yeah, but the neighbors can also hear you. Right? But that's it. It's all of this rush that we are experiencing. But listen, when those things happen, you tend then to find it even harder to have the difficult conversation. Because how many of you have ever been there? After all of this hype, you walk away and you still feel the same. Nothing has changed. Nothing has been healed. Because emotional responses does not fix anything. It does not help. Because there could be deeper things that is actually at work. So let's talk about some of these things. Number one, there can be shadows that are at work inside of us. Shadows are these vulnerable weaknesses, these vulnerabilities inside of us. And there are things in us that have been formed for various reasons, but they affect us stronger than other things. These weaknesses become stronger in our lives. Right? For some people, they battle with self-doubt. They're unsure of themselves. in these moments. Some are filled with self-pity. They feel very sorry for themselves. Well, you don't know how I grew up and how much hurt I've been through and what has happened when I... Listen, all of us come from broken homes. Or many of us, should I say, come from broken homes. You can, for some people, it plays out in this constant need that they want to be validated, right? For others, it's perfectionism. Everything has to be perfect. They've got it in their minds, when I have this conversation, this is how it's going to go. 1, 2, 3. And then I have the conversation, it's all... Whoa. That's not in it. And by the time it's like, it's not supposed to go this way. We end up being judgmental. Listen, many of these shadows direct and determine our conversations and our responses. Think about 1 Samuel 1 and verse 8.
Her husband Elkanah would say to her, Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons?
Okay, so here's a man, his wife is hurting. He's sensitive to her. He understands her heart is broken. She's in pain. She's hurting. And so he wants to comfort her the best he knows, right? This is how he knows to approach his wife when she's hurting and things are not going well. But this guy asks a question that at first it's like, brah, what were you thinking? What was going through your head when you asked this woman these questions? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? He's having an open conversation with his wife. She's hurting, she's crying. And what does he do? He makes it all about him. Don't we tend to do that? We're going to have a conversation. Well, it's going to be all about me. And he makes it all about him. He's basically suggesting, listen, honey, you don't need a child. You got me. I'm all that you are ever going to need. But then you have to ask, bro, where does this come from? Why does it have to be about you? Could it be that there's some self-doubt that he was battling with? Could it be that he needed some validation, and in a moment of her weakness and pain, he's rather looking to solicit something from her? He's looking to get some validation for him. You know, there are people that they're very good at turning any argument and making it about themselves. Can it be that he's jealous of her desires? This woman doesn't even have an answer for him. But what we see that she does is that she takes it to God. Listen, shadows, these vulnerabilities is something you need to identify. Because if you're not careful, they are going to run the conversation. But you have to find a way to get ahead of it, deal with it, so that you can govern it. So that it does not get in the way of having healthy conversations. We can talk without anyone getting angry. Hello? We can just have a conversation. And it doesn't have to get back to who we are. Secondly, there's sunburns. Sunburns can be hurts from the past that still affect us today. And listen, I don't know much about sunburn. I don't know what it feels like to be hurt. I really don't know, right? But apparently it hurts. You don't want to go touch someone and say, hey, bro, how's things going, right? They're in pain. But listen, it's pain from the past in our lives. So some people, when it comes to having this difficult conversation, it's not just about this conversation that is going on, but what is at work at the same time is the abandonment issues. My father walked out on us when I was this old. The abuse that took place inside of the home, right? The neglect. I was never loved. I was never cared for. Words of affection was never given. I was never hugged. And there's sometimes when the conversations we need to be having in our lives that are so desperately needed, it's like sunburn. It brings up all of these memories. And sometimes it's not that you don't think about it. Your body's just reacting. Your emotions are just reacting. And it's taking you back to those moments in your life of your past. So what do? We respond now in pain. Listen, this is not healthy. Because all that's happening is that we are trying to find a way to protect ourselves. I don't want to get hurt again. But then what do we do in that case? We push away. And how many people have pushed away a husband, a wife, in a time when they desperately need to just have a healthy conversation? How many kids have pushed away their parents, or parents have pushed away their children? Maybe you've pushed away friends. You've pushed away your pastor who's trying to so desperately help you. You've pushed away people in the church. And it's not because they are evil, they are wicked, they are trying to hurt you or anything, but because you've got sunburn. You've got some issues that have not been healed. You've not allowed God into those areas. 2 Samuel 6:16.
But as the ark of the Lord entered the city of David, Michal, the daughter of Saul, looked down from her window. When she saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, she was filled with contempt for him.
Okay, so here is Saul's daughter, that her sunburn took over in her response. And she responded in her pain with contempt. Then, of course, there is unresolved issues. Many times these are things from our past, or it may even be from something that happened presently in our lives. But the problem is we tend to continually bring it in to various areas of our lives, into various relationships we're engaged in. Listen, unresolved issues has this unique ability to spill over like a hot drink that you are trying to keep together, and it spills over, right, into various areas of your life. You can find yourself, you're on the job, but you are so frustrated on your job. You can find yourself, you're in ministry, you're trying to lead people, but you are so frustrated with them. You know, why am I so frustrated with people? You don't even know why. It's these unresolved issues that are at work inside of our hearts. Maybe you've come home and you've taken it out on your family. And they don't even know. They saw you leave this morning with a smile on your face, and here you come back and say, yo, who made them angry? 1 Kings 19:10.
I have been very zealous for the Lord, the God of hosts, he replied. But the Israelites have forsaken your covenant, torn down your altars and killed your prophets with the sword. I am the only one left, and they are seeking my life as well.
Okay, so here's Elijah. He's all messed up at this time, right? He's in the cave. His brain is swirling around. He's mad at the people of God. He's mad at God. There's so much that is happening. But what it really is that Jezebel spoke some words that ticked him off, but now he's reacting everywhere else in life. And because he's not willing to have that difficult conversation, now it is spilling all over into other areas of his life. Then, of course, there's rejection, and this is often that big one that we tend to battle with, right? People respond poorly because of issues of rejection that is at work inside of them. And listen, rejection is something that can begin to affect us in very powerful ways. It can begin to consume us to the point where we don't know how to process life. We don't know how to deal with issues that are at work in front of us. Because every time something comes up, there can be a correction, there can be a simple conversation, but the fear in our heart says, they don't want me, they don't want anything to do with me. They think I'm useless. I'm unwanted, they're rejecting me. And so we tend to respond in our pain. When all it is our way of protecting ourselves. 1 Samuel 20 and verse 30.
Saul brawled with rage at Jonathan. You stupid son of perverse and rebellious woman. He swore at him. Do you think I don't know that you want him to be king in your place, shaming yourself and your mother?
Okay, so think about this father here. This is Saul, and he is blowing a gasket. This guy is over, right? He's saying things to his child that it's like, man, didn't you think it through? You shouldn't be speaking to your son like that. And it all came out of a simple question. Hey, Dad, where's David? Just a question. But all of his rejection issues, his insecurities started coming to the surface. Why are you asking me about them? And he goes. Have you ever had that happen to you? You ask a simple question and it's like, man, where did that come from? What did I just do? What did I just walk into? Because it's been there. It's been at work in our hearts. And there can obviously be unmet needs at the core of who we are. We need security, right? We need to feel secure in life and in our relationships, right? That's what the home is supposed to do. It is supposed to create not only a secure environment, but bring stability to our lives. But for many people, that has not been the case, right? Identity is supposed to be something that was formed. That sense of belonging. Our lives are supposed to be aimed and given purpose and direction. But these can be things that were unmet. And now we are driven that I'm going to fill them in some way. But the problem is that way oftentimes is an unhealthy way, because we respond out of our pain. Judges 14 and verse 3.
His father and mother objected. Isn't there even one woman in our tribe or among all the Israelites you could marry? They asked, why must you go to the pagan Philistines to find a wife? But Samson told his father, get her for me. She looks good to me.
Okay, so here's Samson. He's come to a marriageable age. He wants to get married. The problem is he wants to marry a woman that is not of the people of God. This is a Philistine, the people he's supposed to be judging. But because he's so messed up on the inside, he doesn't trust God. And in fact, this affects him then in his competence, his purpose, his belonging, his identity, his security, and all of that. See, this is important for you and I to identify. Because how we see these things ultimately is going to not only reflect on how we view ourselves, but it is going to show up in how we act out in life or react. Whatever that lens is, which you are using this morning to process the events in your life, whatever that lens is that you are using to have those conversations, listen, you are going to respond through that lens. And it may show up different in various relationships or various areas of our lives. Right? For some people in the marriage, it's that rejection that can show up. In your ministry, your leadership role, your self-doubt, in conflict, it can be that sense that you feel inadequate, you feel that you'll never be enough. In parenting, it's the way you parent. And that comes from your unresolved issues that you grew up with. Listen, we need to pray for these things. We need to get a hold of God and pray that God, you need to show me. I need to identify. I need to know what's happening inside of me. Because I need some things to begin to change. So let's close and let's talk about healing the broken. We desperately need to settle these issues. Listen, God does not want you to go through life all broken and messed up. That is not God's plan for you. He wants you to be healed. He wants you to go on and establish healthy relationships, strong bonds, relationships that is not only going to bless you now, but further down the road. And not only that's going to bless you, but you in turn can become a blessing to other people as a result of you having identified and dealt with these things. This is why you need to bring these things to God. Take your heart and bring it to God. God, why? Why am I this way? What's at the root of this? Because again, like we established in the beginning, He knows you best. Listen, for some people, it doesn't, you need to understand, it's not going to help you going back to your mother. Tell me what happened when I was 2 years old. Because for some of us, she's dead. That conversation is never going to happen. Right? You can't go and look for that father that abandoned you and walked out and ran away. I'm going to go find him in Kimberley, wherever he is. How much money are you going to spend to try and get this man? You have to bring it to God. That God, I'm going to take these issues, I'm going to bring my heart, and I'm going to show it to you. And here's the thing, God's not going to be shocked. I can't believe it. You are messed up. You didn't tell me that you were going to come with all of this in your life. I was going to think twice before I saved you. That's not going to happen with God. He's not shocked because He already knows you intimately. He knows you at the depth of your being. He knows your heart. And so listen, you need to allow God access because He wants to help you. Allow Him into your heart. If you need healing, then you need to pray about that. You need to ask God. Listen, I ask God for this almost every single day. I normally pray, God, lay the axe to the root and uproot those seeds that you did not plant and heal my heart from issues of rejections and insecurities, the pains of life, my past. God, heal my heart. You need to ask God to heal you. Psalms 147 and verse 3.
He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds.
If He heals the brokenhearted, if something is missing inside of you, if there's a void, if there is an emptiness that you are walking around with, ask God to fill it up. Ask God to put something inside of that. Psalms 51 and verse 10.
Create in me a clean heart, O Lord.
He says, God, you need to fill me up. I don't want to go this way like an empty vessel making a whole lot of noise all the time. I want to be healed. If something is dominating your life or controlling your life, then you ask God to start that He gives you the power to rule over it. Galatians 5:22 through to 24.
But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. And those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires.
Okay, listen. Not only is God able to heal your heart, but when He does that, you can govern it. You can get control over your emotions. It doesn't have to rule you anymore. It doesn't have to send you chasing and you running around all the time. You don't have to feel like a crazy person all the time. I'm saying there's some people here, it's like, man, I feel crazy when I talk. You don't have to feel that way. Right? You can believe God to rule those issues in your life. If there's something you need to learn, like having these difficult conversations, all you have to do is ask God to teach you. Psalms 86 and verse 11.
Lord, teach me what you want me to do, and I will live by your truth.
God, teach me so that I can begin to do what is right, so that I can live in a manner that is healthy. Listen, as we heal and we fill and we begin to rule and we are learning in this process, we will be able to apply it into difficult conversations and have it in a healthy way. You don't have to have everything fixed for God to start helping you. Because there's some people, they think it's like, whoa, let me first get everything in order before I talk with God about this. No. You can come as messed up as you think you are and just bring it to God. Small changes with God will pay big returns. That's a statement from Pastor Greg Mitchell. Listen, we can learn this morning to identify these issues so that we can go on to have some healthy conversations. Okay, that's all that I have for this morning. I'm going to open it up. Is there perhaps someone you want to make a comment on this subject? Or perhaps you've got a question that you want to ask. If you could lift your hand as high where we could see it, we'll get a microphone to you and try and help this morning. Anybody at all? Any question or comment? Okay. Oh, Dorothy on that side.
Morning, Pastor. All I want to know and ask is if you know how to be a single mom, how do you teach your girls in a way, not through your eyes of the world, like not to, okay, I don't even know how to put it, but my question is this. If your whole life has been like a single mom, and which means, in other words, you're raising single moms because you just transfer what you know over to them. So how do you go about that to switch it?
Okay, so first of all, I'm not going to claim to know it all right now, and I'm going to just give you an answer with the little bit of knowledge that I have on that. I would have to ponder that thing through a little bit more in order to give an adequate response to it. But number one is that we have to remember is that we have a personal relationship with a Father who is in heaven, who wants to help us, right? And listen, God is able to override all of the weaknesses we think is inside of us, all of the messed upness that we think we're going to pass on and impart to our children, right? That the life that I've been living in our minds, they are cursed for eternity. They're going to live this life that I've been living. That's not true. That's because we've got a heavenly Father that we can come to with these issues and talk to God and pray and have God come down, and He can get involved and override many of the ills that's at work in our lives and in our hearts. Then we are part, no doubt, of a family of God, right? No doubt, as with any one of us, we came in from broken homes, but the testimony of the family of God is of such nature that it is a powerful reference that you know what, that is what I can contend for. And that can come through simple instruction. Listen, I may not have the perfect life or the life that I really wanted to have to be an example to you, but look at these people. That's what I want you to aim for. That is what I want you to believe for. You can begin to direct them in that manner. And then obviously you can pray. You can get a hold of God. That God, I speak blessing over them. And that means you are going to have to speak about the good things, right? That you know what? You're going to find a good righteous man that I'm praying for and believing God for. And you can trust him because God is going to be with him. And you can begin to speak faith and hope and things into existence. But here's the thing. Never ever think as a single mother, I am not enough or I will never be enough. God didn't make a mistake. He knows who you are, where you are at, what you are battling with, what you are dealing with. And he's not only on your side, but he has made a host of resources available. And should it be that there is more clarity that is needed, it is at that point that we can begin to say, you know what? This is why I've got a pastor. To begin to help me to navigate some of these challenges and to begin to help me to deal better with these things. I don't know, does that help for now? Very good question. Anybody else? Okay. Good one. Okay, listen. In a moment's time, we're going to have church, but we're going to have an altar. And I know there are people here, maybe you were sitting and it's like, man, I wish there was an altar right now.